Hola, mijos. I have a story. The Lion and the Jackal. Relax. Be very still and listen. Listen carefully to this tale about a mighty lion who lived on a vast grassy plain. Although he was a kind lion, most of the animals feared him, and he didn't have many friends. But all that was to change one day. One day the lion found himself in trouble. You want to know what happened? Let's find out. On this particular day, the lion set off to explore the far side of the plain. After some time, he began to feel thirsty. So he went down to the great lake to get a drink. He waded a little way in and lapped up the cool, fresh water. But as he tried to return to the water's edge, he felt himself slowly sinking into the mud. He tried to pull himself free, but the more he struggled, the more he stuck fast. He looked to the sun for help, but the sun was taking a rest from shining behind some thick, dark clouds. The lion was still stuck when nighttime came and the moon climbed into the dark sky. He called to the moon for help, but she was too busy chatting to a star to hear him. Soon he began to give up hope of ever being rescued. Just then a little jackal came along, singing to himself. "Goodness me, a lion!" he exclaimed. Terrified, the startled jackal was about to jump for cover into the undergrowth when the lion called out to him. "Help me, please! Mr. Jackal, help me! I'm completely stuck in this mud." "The king of the jungle wants help from me?" thought the jackal in amazement. Turning to the lion, he said, "But if I free you, you'll just gobble me up." "I won't, I promise. I am a lion of my word. Please don't be afraid," said the lion. "If you help free me, I'll be your friend forever." The jackal was a kind soul who didn't like to see anyone suffer, so he gathered all his courage and approached the lion. With a lot of huffing and puffing and scrabbling around, he dug the mud from around the lion's great paws. The lion tried really hard to pull his paws free and one by one managed to lift them out of the mud. Then he scrambled up the bank, shook his great mane, and threw back his head and roared, "I'm free! And it's all thanks to you, my friend. It's late and dark, and I live far from here. Would you help me again by letting me stay at your home tonight?" "Well, started the jackal reluctantly. "Of course I give you my word that I won't harm you or your family," interrupted the lion, who could see that his new friend was worried. "Well, if you promise, I suppose. Yes, you're welcome to come. But my home is small and plain," replied the jackal, who decided that he could trust a lion. Off they went to the jackal's home. Mrs. Jackal was very startled to see the lion, and the little jackal pups were so frightened that they ran and hid behind her back. "Don't worry, my dears. The lion is my friend," said the jackal proudly, and he explained how he had rescued him from the mud. Mrs. Jackal was still rather suspicious. But then the lion said, "Today you did me a great service, my friend. As the king of the jungle, I would like to repay you for all your kindness by taking care of you and your family from now on. I would like you to come and live with me and my family in our luxurious royal den." After some discussion, the jackals agreed, and so the next morning they all set off to the lion's den. The families lived happily together, and as time went by, the lion and the jackal became the best of friends. However, the lioness gradually began to resent their friendship, fearing that the lion loved the jackal family more than his own family. It started as a small thought, but the more she dwelled upon it, the more the seed of jealousy grew in her heart until it had taken over all of her thoughts. One day, she decided that they had to go. From then on, whenever she was alone with Mrs. Jackal, the lioness would find fault with her or criticize the little jackal pups. At first, Mrs. Jackal ignored the lioness's unkind ways, but eventually, after a particularly horrible day, Mrs. Jackal said to her husband, I fear we are no longer welcome here. Mrs. Lion complains about everything I do. The lion must want us to leave." Now the jackal couldn't believe that the lion would break his promise, so he went straight to him and said, "My friend, perhaps we have outstayed our welcome in your home. Your wife no longer seems to want us here. Would you like us to leave?" Surprised, the lion asked his wife, "My dear, is this true? Do you want our friends to go?" Mrs. Lion looked up sadly and replied, "I'm sorry, but these days you seem to put the Jackal family before your own. You don't appear to care much about us anymore." "My darling wife," replied the lion, "let me assure you that my love for you and our cubs is in no way lessened by my love for our friends. When the jackal saved my life, I became forever in his debt, so I offered him and his family my protection. Caring for them only enriches my love for you and our cubs." Hearing this, the lioness felt very ashamed of her jealousy. She apologized again and again to the Jackal family, and after that, she became firm friends with the lovely Mrs. Jackal. From then on, the two families spent the rest of their days enjoying each other's company without further resentment or arguments, and their descendants lived happily together for generations to come. Sometimes it is easy to let fear and jealousy cloud our judgment. A wise person knows that there is enough love in their heart to give to every living creature in the world. Now that was a good moral. I love you. I will talk to you soon. Okay? Mwah, 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 mwah. Love you.